So now we are going to have a look at something called the DOM. Now what is DOM? DOM stands for Document Object Model. Now this is sort of a API which is exposed from JavaScript to access the HTML of the web page. So basically what happens is that till now we have seen HTML, CSS and JavaScript, but here is the part from where all the pieces starts fitting together. So we already know that yeah, some HTML is there and some CSS is there and some static page we can create, right? But then how to access it using JavaScript? We have learned JavaScript syntax by now a bit, okay? But how can we use that JavaScript to make this HTML interactive? Or let's say dynamically add some elements, dynamically modify some elements. We want to make our JavaScript interactive and dynamic, okay? Make our HTML interactive and dynamic. So how can we do that? So this is where DOM comes in. What DOM is there, that this whole HTML is basically it has to be accessed programmatically from JavaScript side, right? So DOM is a sort of a whole structure which data structure which stores all this HTML document in an organized manner so that it can be accessed via JavaScript, and that interface through which the JavaScript can access that thing is called DOM API, and this particular representation is called DOM. Okay, so DOM is what? Simple data representation of all the objects that comprise the structure and content of an HTML document. So this HTML document, all the objects which are pieces of it which are comprising this document, all of them will be represented as some data structure, and that data representation of these objects is called DOM. Fair enough. Now DOM API, I just mentioned that this is the representation of the data, that is DOM, but there has to be some interface, programming interface through which I can influence, I can modify, I can do something with that representation, right? So for example, let's say using JavaScript, I want to change programmatically, right? I can change here my like home page to hello page, right? I can write it manually, but let's say I don't want to write it manually, right? Let's say some user is logged in, then automatically whatever the user is logged in, the title should be like hello that person's name, if I want that. So that has to be done automatically, right, using programming. So if we want from JavaScript to change something here, then there has to be some interface, some programming interface through which we can do that. That interface, that programming interface is basically DOM API, Document Object Model Application Programming Interface. Okay, so this is the programming interface for HTML documents using which we can interact with our HTML documents. Okay, now there is a document object that represents the whole the root HTML document. So everything whatever we will be doing, we will be starting with something called document object, right? So let's print this thing. So let's print document, and as we will see that so this JavaScript is used from this index HTML. So when I'm running this index HTML, then I definitely have this in the HTML, and when I have modified this, then this thing will be run. That is obvious, right? Now you can see that yeah, something has been printed, which means that yes, no error came, that unknown undefined variable or something, right? Which means that this is a valid variable, global variable, which is already available, right? And this is what is the root. This is what which is representing the whole DOM, whole document. So this, you can understand, this whole HTML is programmatically available from this variable. You can understand it simply like that. Okay, now you can understand that yeah, this has a lot of things see, the first thing I'll mention is that this DOM thing is a very huge topic, like very huge topic, but we are not going to go into that much detail. We are just learning it for a particular reason. The reason is that nowadays nobody interacts with DOM directly, right? There are libraries for it. For example, soon we are starting to learn a library called React. That React, what does is that we will define our user interfaces in React, and React will internally do all these changes. But then how can React do that? React doesn't have some magic, right? React has to use only those technologies which web browser provides, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, right? So React is sort of a wrapper, a library on top of these APIs only. Okay, whatever we will be discussing right now. So this document, all these internal handling of the DOM is taken care by React, and we write slightly higher level, simpler code in React, and React does the heavy lifting of doing these things. Okay, but still we are in a few videos we are going to still touch upon these topics of DOM, because just you should understand, it's like you could have started directly from JavaScript, HTML, CSS, right? But we earlier had a module on like foundations of the web, right? Why? Because simply doing this you will only understand when how the websites are working, how the internet is working, how they are interconnected, what are we trying to do, what is web server, all these, how all these pieces fit together. You have to understand. If you understand that, then when you are creating a website, then all of it makes sense, right? In a similar manner, you will be using React, but how internally it might be doing, if you have a fair idea about DOM, then that will give you a better picture. For that only we are going to touch upon DOM for a few videos. Okay, so let's see. So we saw that yeah, this is something, right? Some object where the whole representation is there. You can understand that like everything, whatever is your head is there, your body is there, everything is here only. Okay, so you can see that everything is here. So this is the root representation of the entire HTML document. Okay, and a lot of other things. It's not that whatever you have written that is only represented. A lot of other things are also represented, which is used to make this page visible in the browser, right? Okay, so we have seen the document object which is available. Now there is something called DOM tree. Okay, what is this DOM tree? You will hear this a lot. DOM tree, the traversal of DOM, or tree traversal. Tree traversal is a common term, and that's why you will listen terms like DOM traversal. So basically, the thing is that the idea is that this HTML, whatever HTML is there, the whole thing can be thought of as a tree. Why tree? Because you can see that everything is nested, which means that, see, this whole thing I can say is HTML. Why? Because HTML is starting here, HTML is ending here. So I can say that whole HTML is like sort of a, let's say, root. Okay, or let's say one node. Now that HTML has two children, and what are those children? Those children which are immediate children of this HTML node. And what are the immediate children? This head, this whole thing, and body, this whole thing. So you can understand like that there is some root HTML, and it has two children, head and body, and then head can have multiple things, and then body can have multiple things, and this will go on like it can go infinitely, right? Indefinitely. So and again you can see, think that this whole thing is a document, and you can understand that this thing is a child of the whole document. And why? Because some slight other things like doc type or something that can be also there. So but simplicity, you can understand that document, and then we can have HTML, and inside HTML we will have something like this. So that whole thing can be represented as something like this. So document and again it can have multiple things like doc type or something, but for simplicity let's see only HTML. So document is having HTML. Again HTML is having head part and body part, right? Again head part has a title and all of other things, right? So head part, you can see that it has title, it has meta, so you can understand that head can have multiple children, title, meta, all those things, right? Similarly body, you can see that body has p tag. So similarly body can have p tag or list. Again if you write some list, then how will you write? You will write, we understood earlier, right, that there is a ul tag inside that li tag, and that can be like many items can be there in that, right? So the point is that here you can see that the body has two children, let's say P and UL, and then UL has three children, LI. So you can understand like this, that this whole sort of thing is looking like a what? Looking like an inverted tree, and that's why this sort of structure is also called tree structure. And since we are dealing with DOM, so we will call this the DOM tree. Okay. So in the next topic, we'll start using this document object, and we will see some APIs, and we will get started with how we can interact using this variable and get access to the data which is available in the web page. That will be all for this video.